And all you've done since you were a little boy is dream of leaving.
I don't know how to leave.
Just deal with the devil, brother.
You've been in the jaws of the beast. Someday you're gonna finish his meal.
Every once in a while, it's nice to remind them. They're the prisoners, not us.
Didn't even make it a month before this place tore me to pieces.
Oh, I got some bad news for you. It's not torn to pieces. Not even close. It's coming.
Good afternoon. I'm Jonathan Capehart, opinion writer for the Washington Post. Welcome to Washington Post Live. Mayor of Kingstown is a new crime series from Paramount Plus that shows what happens in a company town when the company is really the thriving business of incarceration. And it stars two titans of the entertainment world who join me right now. Academy Award nominee Jeremy Renner and Academy Award winning actress Dianne Wiest. I'm so excited to see you both. I can't even speak. Thank you very much for coming to Washington Post Live.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Thank
I'm
Well, Jerry, let me start with you because your character acts as an intermediary between folks in prison and civilians. And pretty quickly, we learn how dangerous this work is. Was it difficult for you to identify with your character, Mike McCluskey, who early on hints, and as we saw in the clip leading into this interview, he wanted to leave?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of work that had to be done to really just get an understanding of this. This is a very sort of micro sort of part of our country, and there's quite a few of these all around our country. And just to get an understanding of what it is. I mean, you have to understand this is a town built out in the middle of nowhere, but then because of that, community is birthed around it, and then the workings of how just look. I've never been to prison. I don't know anybody that's been in prison. I had to understand how just the inner workings of it, and the it's a dialogue too that Taylor and Hugh were very familiar with. There's a shorthand to it, and I had to really try to decipher what means anything to me, and so then I can then show and express to audiences what has value and what doesn't have value. That was the biggest sort of obstacle in the beginning of this thing, I think.
Mm-hmm. And you know, Dianne, when we first meet your character in the first episode, your character's name is Miriam McCluskey, and that's why Jeremy called you Mom, because you play his mother. She's in the middle of teaching a class at the women's prison in Kingstown, and it's a detailed and unvarnished look at U.S. history. What kind of research did you do in preparation for this role and the issues, particularly of systemic racism, that scene and this series looks at unflinchingly?
Oh, that's so great to hear you say that. Let's see, maybe 7 years ago, I read the new Jim Crow, and it's sort of it did a lot to me. I don't know how to really explain it, but after I read that, I wanted to become involved and learn as much as I could about the industrial prison complex that we have in America. We, make money from the poorest of the poor who are incarcerated, and we incarcerate people for mental health problems, for poverty, for being of color, for immigration. I mean, our answer to everything is just lock them up. And I wanted to do this show so much because it's addressing that. There's so much in the show, I couldn't begin to do enough research. I mean, I'll be doing research for the rest of my life, hopefully, on the prison system in this country, which has been here from, before the revolution and continues full-fledged to this day.
Mhm. Well, Dianne, I mean, just to stick with you for one more question on this. I mean, this isn't the issues that you're talking about right now, and the issues that are dealt with in Mayor of Kingstown. Um, it's not just acting for you. If I understand, you just took part in a protest. I think it was outside of Rikers Island to protest the deteriorating conditions in that jail. Is that right?
I did do that. I was, so many other people could tell you much more eloquently than I can what's happening there. But the people who spoke, there was a mother whose son was there, a mother whose son had died there because of they didn't give him his medicine, somebody who hadn't eaten for 3 days because the food just never got to him, the cold, the COVID, the heat, name it, and they're suffering it. And no one is doing anything about it. No one. It's kind of amazing. You just say, shut it down. Well, we don't have anywhere to send them. Well, there's a lot of other prisons in this country. We have more prisons than more prisoners than any other country in the world,
And,
more than Russia,
and,
more than China.
and certainly a lot of prisons in New York State, and the issue of Rikers has exploded on the scene more recently because of the number of suicides that have happened in that jail. Well, let's come back to Mayor of Kingstown. Jeremy, I want everyone to take a look at this scene from this series where your two characters have a tense mother-son discussion about your line of work.
He's gone in the manner we all imagined. This will be your way too, you know.
Ma, we don't break the law. You know that. We bend it to make peace for everybody.
I'm so familiar with what you do. Your father invented it. But don't delude yourself into thinking any of this is for the common good. You worked incredibly hard to accomplish absolutely nothing. You prolonged the inevitable. Your couriers, fix-it men, part-time gangsters, and you think because you don't make much money that it's noble?
My favorite line in that scene, Jeremy, is when you say, "We don't break the law; we bend it to make peace." I just messed up my own my own notes. You say, "We don't break the law; we bend it." I think to make peace is in part of your preparation, as you said earlier. You did a lot to understand the vernacular, the culture, everything. Were you surprised by the corruption that you learned? Because in that scene, the mother-son discussion is about the loss of your brother, the character, and the family business that is basically the foundation of which is corruption.
I don't know if surprise it would be the right word. I mean, it'd take a lot to surprise me. I'm sure that happens in politics and in every other sort of facet of our lives. But within the prison system, yeah, I could still don't know, and ultimately enough information to be guffaw. I mean, I just don't know enough to have that greatest understanding of what goes on. Because look, I'm not in a prison. I don't work in the prisons. I had to act as if I was, because I play a guy that was in the prison system for 10 years, and doing as much research as you can, and speaking with prisoners, and that is only one sort of tiny fraction of any understanding that anybody can grab here. We still got to tell stories. We still have to be have characters, and there's still drama here, right? So I lean a lot on, other people that are more researched, and I focus on the humanity of the characters and the behavior, and connections obviously with working with like Dianne and the great amazing cast here, because ultimately we're going to follow the story because we care about the cast. So I mean I just had that sort of stuff, but yeah, being surprised I guess, but not really. You know what I mean?
And sorry, Jeremy.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Dan, I'll pose the same question to you in terms of the amount of corruption that we see in this series. Given your activism and everything that you've done with this series, have you been surprised by some of the things that you've learned in getting ready for this role or even portraying this role?
Yes, yeah, it's I think the different levels of corruption, I mean, they're all separate tribes kind of, and the cops are just another tribe, and they kill with the same not glee, but with the same necessity that the inmates have killed. They see that it has to be done that way. I'm thinking now of my oldest son who's killed and the revenge that is taken for him. If it has to be done that way because this can go to court and drag out for years and he really might not be properly punished, he could get off. Well, let's just shoot him. It's stunning.
Mm-hmm.
The it's an architectural system, though it's not random. I don't think it's random. It seems to me like it has a whole labyrinth of rules and regulations about what you do if you're a Crip, or what you do if you're white, or what you do if you're a guard, or what you do if you're the mayor of Kingston.
I see you
And I
nodding,
think,
Jeremy. Go ahead, finish your thought, and then Jeremy can jump in.
no, that's all.
Jeremy.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing I guess I mean, I suppose you learn, or at least learn more about, but it's just, if you're, look, I'm trying to figure out a point of view here. Coming from Mike McCluskey, he's a inmate he's an advocate for inmates, right? So he tries to give the inmates voices because of this, which he's talking about. You're put into prison and you're forced into your hand into a certain way, a very, very rigid sort of rules, and prison rules is a very different sort of way of life. And sometimes there are people that are put in prison that are not guilty. Some people are put in prison for not a violent crime, but they have to now they're put into a system now to become violent. Or there's not a lot. Oh, it's not very hopeful, right? If you're put in prison, right, it's fine. You're there to for your mistakes, but it's certainly not going to be an environment because of these limitations that she's talking about within the rules of the prison system. It's pretty gnarly, for lack of better words, and bleak. It's pretty. Mm-hmm. It's pretty.
We've got about 7.
Nation totally condemned, essentially.
We got about 7 minutes left, and I want to get each of you to answer a question specifically for you. Jeremy, I'll start. This show was created by Taylor Sheridan, and you've mentioned the name Taylor a couple of times in some of your answers, and his other hits include Yellowstone and Sicario. What about Taylor's script for Mayor of Kingstown attracted you to the project? Was it Taylor himself? Was it the writing, the subject matter, or all of the above?
It was Taylor, because I worked with him on a movie, Wind River, and we were looking to work together for many different reasons. Again, because we saw eye to eye in so many things. I said yes to do this show without reading one word of the script, and so when I did read it, it was just a page turner, and couldn't put it down. And it's exactly what I already knew it would kind of be. Taylor's always 100% in his writing equally as ferocious and violent, and as he is poetic and thoughtful and intimate. There's always amazing, thoughtful themes about a lot of times the people that don't have voices, whether it be Native Americans, like we had in Wind River, and then in here. So there's always a wonderful themes that he has that run through all his writings, and then how he writes is, really wonderfully, cinematic and truthful, and it's always honest. Whether like, this show is very, very honest and truthful, and sometimes hard to swallow because it just like, you're watching some stuff that it feels a little close to home, but like then you also feel weird because you don't even know anything that's going on. You don't know any of this is going on, and yeah, you're witnessing it. It's hard for me to kind of even like quantify, but I would do if he was director Taylor's going to rewrite the phone book, and direct it. I'd be doing it. And the phone book meaning like the movie, but the
Right.
or
For the
that's
kids out
Notebook.
there, the phone book was a place where you used to get someone's phone number.
Yeah. Anybody, if he's going to do the ABCs or something, he's just got a wonderful, strong, powerful, unapologetic voice, and I think that's pretty exciting for cinema. If you ask me.
Dianne, were you like Jeremy? Did you just take the role without reading the script?
No, I read the script, and because I am a small actor, I read the script just looking for my role. Well, I read it and I got so caught up, I forgot to look for my role, and it didn't jump out at me. So then I went back and I reread it, and I tried to find there wasn't much of a role there, but I care enormously. That's not true. And Taylor wrote a lot of stuff after we spoke for me. The teaching in the prison being one of those things, but he is a compelling writer. You really, as Jeremy just said, it's a page turner. And I hadn't met him. I didn't know him. I'd seen Wind River because of Jeremy, really, but I didn't know about Taylor. And now, of course, I know. I'm not a huge TV watcher, but I know about Yellowstone, and it's a huge hit. And I know that I know who Taylor Sheridan is.
Wait, in the minute we have left, I'm sort of struck by the fact that, Dianne, that you're not a big TV watcher. Did that change during the pandemic?
Yep.
And so now you watch a lot of TV.
I'm a binger. The last time somebody asked me what I'd binged on, I said cake and ice cream. Now I know what they're talking about. It was pathetic. I said that on some show, and I said, "Oh, cake, ice cream." I'm clueless. Well, my kids didn't let me touch the television because I always messed it up, and that's why I don't watch much.
I see. Jeremy, during the pandemic, did your habits change? Did you go from not watching TV to watching TV or doing other stuff?
I did a lot of things. Yeah, I was pretty active. First of all, I shot 2 TV shows, and I'm happy to be working. And this would be one of them. So I was pretty busy and still haven't stopped. And I was blessed to be working. Whenever I could. In the beginning of the pandemic, there was, I was a stay-home dad and parent, and also became a teacher. For a long while, and yeah, I enjoyed that part of it. But personally, all I was doing was just staying busy and working as much as I could, and happy to be sharing the shows now.
Well, glad you were busy. Glad you were both busy, because Mayor of Kingstown is, and I've only seen the first 2 episodes in preparation for this, and now I cannot wait to see the rest of them. Jeremy Renner, Dianne Wiest, and Dianne, I can't be in front of you and not say these 2 great words. Don't speak. We are out of time. The name of the series is Mayor of Kingstown, and you can watch it on Paramount Plus. Again, Dianne Wiest, Jeremy Renner, thank you very much for coming to Washington Post Live.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
And as always, thank you for tuning in. To check out our upcoming interviews, head to WashingtonPostLive.com to find out more information and to register. Once again, I'm Jonathan Capehart, opinion writer for the Washington Post. Thank you again for watching Washington Post Live.